Hey guys, welcome back. This is for Santa Fe Hills community, and now, like I said, as you've seen my newsletter, it's obviously expanded as we've added new communities right above us, Skylark, Foothills, Ridgeview, and we're including Santa Helena here. We're kind of all nearby. Although the products are obviously different, we're still in Santa Fe Hills. We're kind of more or less drinking from the same water fountain, and what happens in one affects another. So again, welcome back. Hopefully most of you coming back here have already been here, know me, and know who I am. I'm going to try to make this really as brief as I can and as succinct as I can. Sometimes I go on a tangent, but overall the idea of this is to bring you information that's relevant to real estate and the market. So let's talk about the market really quick. We are past summer, believe it or not. Gosh, I know I mentioned this before. I think as you get older, things just move so much faster. And, it's just what it is. Again, my name is Orzhel, broker owner of Realty Max. We do service San Marcos as well as other communities. A lot of times when we talk to sellers or we service sellers or sell the homes for sellers in Santa Fe Hills or Discovery Hills, they don't, I guess for some reason they think we don't sell anywhere else, but we do. Like I said, some of the recent ones have been Scripps Ranch. I have one coming up in Carmel Valley. So, I like to stay here because it's closer. I don't have to drive as much, and I really know the market and what people are seeking for. But, they say a good surgeon can operate in any OR. You just need to make sure the team is there, and that's kind of how I do. I go where I need to go. I don't particularly market in that area, but like I said, if you do have or know someone that can benefit from my technique, my perspective, feel free to refer me out. Anyway, let's talk about the market. So the market overall, I know everybody's been hearing about the crash, and the crash is on and on again. It just seems like it's nonstop. What can I tell you about this? In order for a crash to take place, the bottom line, in order for a crash to take place, you have to have a lot of people that are upside down. I think 40% of population of San Diego is completely free and clear. A majority of people have some kind of equity in their property. So even if they get into financial bind, they can always put the home on the market and sell it. So in order for a crash to happen, you have a lot of people there. Number one, obviously, are distressed financially. And to have a glut on the market, everybody's throwing the home on the market and need to sell or having short sales. So can we go down in price? Let me just make it very direct. Yes, we can drop in price. Things happen. As you can see, builders are putting new products on, and builders are the first ones because they're the most motivated. They have what we call construction loans, and they're the most motivated to sell their product because it costs them too much to hold this on their books. So as you've seen, a lot of the builders who are building, the majority of things you've seen have been, multi-level, three-story mostly, townhomes, and they're not for everybody. And everybody knows they're just not for everybody, right? If you're older, you don't want to really climb stairs. I don't. I'm in good shape, but I really don't want to go up and down the stairs, at least not 3 stories. So, and I've seen the prices come down. If you're in, obviously, Santa Fe Hills, you've seen the ones at CVS or next to CVS. Last I've heard, they've sold very few units. I just hope they're not going to turn around and turn them into apartments, as we've seen at the project right near Outback. If you've seen it, it used to be, they were for sale, and all of a sudden they were turned into apartments. Okay, so that said, let's put this out of the way. The market is actually doing well. Again, prices are stable. And I think what's really important nowadays is really a strategy, right? How do you put the home on the market? How do you bring the market to you, right? Because I see a lot of listings that stay in the market too long. And as I mentioned before, listings on the market, or on a shelf, I should say, do not paint a pretty picture to the buyer pool. It's not like, they do not age like wine. They get stale, and buyers, like I said, even if they like the property that's been in the market for a couple of weeks or 3 weeks, you're not going to get a full price. They're going to try to lowball you. It just things are. So what happens at this point is what I refer to chasing the market down, right? So at this point, you're kind of working for the market versus the market working for you. The way we try to structure things and make things work for you is we want the markets to really chase us up. In fact, we just closed one on, I think it's 1504. Don't quote me, on Avenida Pantera. Same thing. We did a weekend sale. We got multiple offers. We were able to get this thing closed above asking price. I think we got 10,000 on that one above. That's when everybody's dropping price and selling significantly less than we can get. Most people who are selling, they're either downsizing or I don't know why, but I have a lot of people just moving out of the country. This particular lovely lady, Jennifer, she decided to move to Paris, France. So the one right before that, they decided to move to somewhere near Tuscany in Italy. So, you have people doing different things for different reasons, some for better food, some for better medical, or access to better medical. So everybody does their own thing. But ultimately, what I'm going to tell you is the homes in the market, there are more listings. They're about 30 to 40%, depends what area of San Marcos. And if your home stays in the market too long, there's already an error. I get calls from people all the time asking me to look at their property, see what's going on, and I see the same issue. The problem is, like I said, and you can see this in my on the newsletter, if you got one, right? I had mailed today because my guy is on vacation. If you can see the pro tip, I talk about buying the listings. You get this a lot with agents, like I said, because the way most agents are taught is to get as many listings as possible at any cost. So for example, they'll tell you that it's cost, they can get you more money or can do whatever, right? Empty promises are empty promises. We're really the only brokerage here in San Marcos that actually guarantees your home sold at your price on your terms or will pay the difference. Like I said, if you want to know the terms of that, obviously there's always some kind of terms on that. Please feel free to pick up the phone and give me a call. I'll be more than happy to discuss that with you. But overall, we want to be in a position of leverage, and the way you become in a position of leverage is you use the market versus the market using you, and that means the market needs to chase you up, push the price up. You want to create an auction type of environment, a bidding war, and really get the most money as you can and make the transaction so much smoother. We take a couple of different actions in between, be it doing inspections before that. So, it's almost like at this point selling a certified used car versus a used car because everything is already known and most majority of things have been addressed. So what can I say about Santa Fe Hills? Like I said, the market is, as you know, rate driven. So let's take a look at the rates here really quick, right? Market is rate driven. At this point, we're down to about 6.35. We can get it down into the fives, but there's going to be a buy down, which is going to cost you money. And really, the only time you want to do this if you're going to keep the property for, let's say, over 5 years, because that's when the buy down makes sense. Especially if you can get the seller to do that, that's great. Most of the people I work with or the sellers, they are never in the position to do that because anytime that the buyer is going to ask you for concessions and you say yes, obviously you have somewhat capitulated, right? Because let's say you have a certain price, then you increase the price, let's say by 3% to accommodate the buyer concession. At this point, we may have to deal with appraisal, right? What happens when appraisal does not come in because now we have a higher price? So there's many factors you want to look at, but overall, I just want you to see rates have been coming down. Although today, this is as of 9/11, today they have ticked up. I'm not sure. If you follow me, you already know that I originate loans. So if you need some, for me to look and see if I can help you with that, feel free to call me and I'll take a look and see if we can improve things, whatever you have there. And overall, you can buy the rate down. Again, it's not really a great idea unless you're going to be staying in the property for at least 5-6 years, and rates may at some point drop. Now, two school of thoughts, right? Some people say rates are going to drop. You're going to have more buyers coming in because at this point we have made it more affordable. Totally makes sense. And you listening to me probably going like this. Now, what happens if rates go down and all those people that were locked in or did not want to move because the rates were low now say, okay, let's do it. Let's put our home on the market, right? So the other option of this is more people putting their home on the market because of the rate drop as well. And that's kind of balancing things out. So we don't know what's going to happen. Every market is different. All we can do is kind of deal with the situation. I always deal with now. I've thrown away my crystal ball. I tried to get it repaired a couple of times and it failed me. So all we can do is, look at it now. As of historic perspective, buying real estate is always great. It's always a great investment. This inflation is not going anywhere soon. It's going to continue, right? This inflation is not going anywhere. And ultimately, even though we might have a slight dip in prices short term, ultimately this market is going to continue going up because inflation is just a factor of the way American economy obviously works. And it is becoming significant. We're making things very unaffordable for a lot of people. And as you can see, more homeless, more divide between haves and haves not. And I'm worried for my kid. I only have one. And I really try to make him understand and maybe help him get into something now, because it's always better to jump on a train now, right? And later, at least you have already something. You can always move into a different train, a luxury train, or, because it's a trade-up situation. Everything kind of goes up at the same pace, more or less. So that's my suggestion for you if you have kids. Think about it. There's always investment properties that you can buy. And at some point, you can obviously give them to your kids and make some kind of deal that makes sense for you overall. So what else do I want to cover? I think that's pretty much it. Everything's stable. If you are looking to sell, feel free to look me up. I have plenty of Google reviews, Zillow reviews. In fact, if you put on, go to Zillow, hit 92069, you'll see me as one of the top profile. And I don't pay for it. It's just there. Even if you pop in San Marcos in Zillow, California, you'll see that I'm fairly rated highly up without me having to pay, because a lot of people do pay for that. Again, if you think of selling, you just want to maybe set up some kind of consultation with me, a pre-listing consultation, 20-30 minutes. I'll set up a time. We can do that. I won't charge you. And we can talk about strategy, your options, etc. Okay? I don't want to make this too long. I really do appreciate you coming here and listening to me chitter chatter here for a while. If you have any questions, feel free to dial me up. There should be a phone number. Let me flash it again here if I can. And we'll be, let's see, sorry about that. Technical difficulties. So 705-4737, or you can go, like I said, you can shoot an email to me in72.com. You can look up the program. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Again, thank you. I'm going to sign off. And I think this next newsletter is going to come out in about 3 weeks. So we'll stay on time as of today. All right. All the best. And thank you again for stopping by.